Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's starting to get darker and colder here now. I spent the first couple days this week biking around more than I normally would during the workday, just because it was like 3 days of 70 degrees. And then this Saturday, there's a snowflake in the forecast.
Wow.
Thank you, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. New England does the same thing. Like it's known for its incredibly variable weather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Totally. So there's a guest on the line today.
There is.
Doing a slight break in the normal AOP style. Amir Salihefendić is here, who is the founder and I believe CEO of Doist. Welcome, Amir.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here. I'm quite excited to just chat around and see what this brings.
Yeah, me too. We don't have a lot of guests on the show, but I said yes to this because I am actually a user of one of your products. So at Tuple, we started using Twist about 4 months ago, I would say, and have since fully switched off Slack. I remember when I signed up, I was very impressed with the onboarding and liked the product. And so I thought it would be cool to get you on here and just be like, hey, first of all, nice job on the app.
Well, thank you, Ben. It's kind of like if you can get off Slack, it's kind of getting off like heroin. So, you should have like a badge, like a 4-month badge, like Slack clean.
I like that. And if I make it a whole year, I'll get a coin. Amir, we were talking before the show, and I told you that we usually start off with kind of updates of what's going on in our businesses. And I'd love to try to maintain that, actually. We might ask you some more questions towards the end, but I think we'll just start off with our normal updates. And I can actually just go first. Derrick, last time we talked, I was in kind of like coming out of kind of a dark place. You were like one of the first outside people that I had talked to. After like having like a bunch of really predictable, good growth, we had a couple weeks and almost like a month where things had slowed down. It weren't quite negative, but we're getting there, or like slightly negative over a certain period of time. And I talked to you that day, and you were kind of like, yeah, man, I'm actually kind of excited for you. This is like, a chance to sort of earn your stripes in a way. Like you got to a certain revenue level and you're going to try to break past that and figure it out. To some extent, you kind of talked me off the ledge a little bit. You helped me kind of realize like, hey, things are good and like you'll figure this out. And so first of all, like thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Glad I could help.
Definitely. So it's once again, Art of Product is acting as a founder therapy a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what it's best at, honestly.
Totally. We just happen to record it and people listen.
Yep.
And then I talked to little-known entrepreneur Rob Walling after that, and he kind of continued the trend where I was like, okay, I talked to Derrick, he like mostly got me off the ledge, and then Rob was like, all right, well, let's talk about some like tactics and like what are you thinking about maybe doing and some strategic things. And after that call, I was pretty much back to a good place. It's crazy what a psychological roller coaster building things is. And like, it's hard to maintain perspective where like a bunch of people basically said the same thing to me, which was like, okay, a couple weeks is not a trend. Don't worry about it too much. This is going to happen every 4 to 6 months anyway. Like you're going to hit plateaus and have to break through them. Don't freak out too much. Amir, you're nodding your head like you have possibly experienced this once or twice.
I think you kind of need to live with it and like learn to kind of live with it. There's actually a great book on this. It's called Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Taleb. For anybody that kind of works with like random data, which is basically, what we do when we do like these products and like grow stuff, it's basically like random stuff. Like, reading that book really helped me like get the mindset right.
Yeah. So I was sort of coming back up out of that dark-ish time, but like things have really been great this week. So like all three of us at Tuple have been like working pretty hard and shipping a lot of things. We have like a really nice release that's going to come out. Actually, we deployed today and I'll be announcing tomorrow with some cool new stuff. It's like cool new things in it. Also, the numbers have started moving in the right direction. There's positive momentum in the effort, and also even some of the randomness is in my favor again, so I'm happy. I'm over extrapolating from bogus data, but in a different direction. So yeah, so basically, much better mood than last time is the summary of all that.
That's cool. Do you feel like you have a sense for, like in talking to Rob and just maybe thinking about strategy, do you feel like you have kind of a path forward for what to do to break past the plateau, or where are you at on that?
It may actually not be a plateau. Like that may have just been like a random lull. And so I'm not sure it's so much breaking past, but that doesn't mean I don't want to do marketing efforts. There are a handful of things I sort of ran by him that he thought sounded pretty good. I got some good feedback also from Tyler Tringus, who was saying, it seems like you have a app that is fairly niched. And so you can be talking to people directly. Like you could go kind of like outbound sales, make a list of people who this would be a good candidate for, or who would be good candidates, and like potentially drive that way. Like you can do the broad marketing efforts, but you could also kind of go after it more directly. That really resonated quite a bit, actually. I kept thinking back to Nathan Barry's like microconf talk, and like the way ConvertKit really took off when he started like targeting people with sales.
Would you look for people who are kind of like influencers so that you could get more, like there's more to be gained from getting some of those customers on than just another unit of revenue, but it's like people who can kind of talk publicly about the product and stuff? Do you think
that's interesting? I hadn't thought about that angle, but why not? If you can find someone that's the perfect, all those things together, that sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've been thinking about something similar where like, as part of the Tiny Seed cohort, we kind of meet regularly with Einar, and he kind of walks through the metrics of your business each month. I think he prods everyone to like kind of set a revenue goal or like a growth goal for the next month. I've been thinking about like, how does this apply to my current situation where I'm very early, I have a little bit of revenue, but not kind of repeatable processes for getting new customers yet. And so I'm concerned about like focusing too much on a revenue goal right now and going out and doing scrappy things to get new customers when maybe I should be focusing more on like trying to build scalable processes or like figure out what are kind of the flywheels that I can be working on. And maybe that won't produce a short-term result or a short-term bump in revenue, but like for the long term, it's stuff I need to get set in place. So it's like thinking about it in terms of like, do I try to get to some number that I set in the next couple of weeks, or do I worry less about the short term and try to stay long term focused?
Well, I have an easy answer.
Yeah,
it's like only long term focus. Actually, something that's like very, I think, fascinating about us. Like we never actually had a single like revenue milestone or like something we tried to hit. I think it's kind of like a very different mindset, and maybe like you need to figure out like, what kind of personality and culture do you want to build? Because if you kind of become maybe too numbers driven and you have like these numbers everywhere, I think it kind of appeals to a certain set of people, and then you have like a certain set of other people where it does not really appeal to them. So for us, and especially me, like I hate to be like numbers driven. That's maybe like contrarian to what you would actually hear from others, but yeah.
Yeah, that feels like a difficult balancing act in the very early days. Like if you've hit a point where you have a mostly sustainable revenue level, you could say, okay, we're going to focus long term all the time. But you definitely don't want to have revenue be at a similar point 2 months, 3 months, 5 months from now. Like, so it might be that like the sort of shorter term directly going after things might be worth that effort now.
Yeah, I think it's probably like most things where it depends, right? It kind of depends on like, what do you feel like the business needs right now for sustainability? What do you personally need? Like if getting more revenue in the short term is really important for the long-term survival of the company or for your own mental state, then perhaps it's like, maybe that's what you need the most at the time. And then I don't know, maybe there's other times where it makes sense to kind of try not to think too closely about short-term numbers.
So I'll probably hold off on more specific updates until next week, until we've actually launched things. I'm trying to not talk about things until we actually finish them.
Yeah.
Because I've been burned before, or I've burned myself before, I should say. But Derrick, what's going on in your world?
I kind of have been in a product hole this week, trying to make rapid progress on kind of the cool new angle that I alluded to last time. Still not talking details about it just yet. Getting kind of deep into JavaScript tooling and Node tooling and how to package libraries properly and how to like transpile your stuff so that you're being a good library author and exposing your code properly and bundling it. And man, it's a tricky world out there.
That's weird. That's weird. All I've heard about that is that it's great and there's no problems and everyone loves it.
Yeah. And it's funny, even just getting back into JavaScript after, like, I definitely wrote a lot of JavaScript at Drip, but we were kind of frozen in a little bit older tech stack. Like we came up through, I think when we started, it was like jQuery was still just the most popular, library for helping you author and organize your JavaScript code. And then there was like the CoffeeScript years and I was just like in the Backbone years. And then people were kind of moved to Angular. Like there's been so much churn that happened during the time that I was like doing a lot of JavaScript stuff. And even just like, the last couple of years, like now we have the newer JavaScript syntaxes for functions and async and await functions and all kinds of stuff that seems relatively new and just a lot to kind of wrap your mind around. So, but I do feel like I'm making good progress on the feature. So still like feeling positive about momentum. But yeah, I even today I was kind of just in another world for a few hours, just deep on stuff. So
you should make Adam Wathen help you.
No, yeah, maybe I should have paired with him.
You should have. Do a Tuple call with him.
Yeah.
He can invite you.
Yeah.
So how about you, Amir? What's been going on this week for you?
We are kind of like releasing a new Todoist in a few weeks. We are at the second beta stage and things are looking pretty good. Yeah, so we're quite excited for that.
What's new about it?
Some will say this is nothing like really new. We have added a few features, but actually we have just kind of like cleaned up a lot of like the depth that we had. So there was like a lot of abstraction depth with the code base and the models across all platforms. So we kind of like just cleaned stuff up and like improved the design a bit, polished stuff up, improved some workflows. And actually people are really, really excited about this, which is great because a lot of times like, people want to see new like fancy features, but our users, they just want to see like that we don't break the stuff they already have and then that we just improve it. Yeah. The thing for us, it's kind of like, the stage that we have like multi-product and we have like some very big ambitions also for Twist. And we even have like some more stuff for Todoist that we want to do, like much bigger changes. And we I feel like we don't really have the capacity to kind of like do both things at once. And then, our like engineering team has presented like 30 projects they want to do to improve like the code bases further. So we just have like competing like agendas of different people that want to like push different stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of very hard, but I think also very exciting. Yeah. So that's about it. Yeah.
So what do your days look like then? Because your team is is large. So are you doing a lot of management and strategic things?
Yeah, I actually I coded daily. Maybe I stopped like 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I have only, recently stopped doing that. And I still actually do that like sometimes just for fun. So, but right now, I actually spend a lot of my time like thinking, writing, reading, like having some meetings and then coding a bit. Yeah, I have a lot of time now.
Did you feel like you were kind of hurting the company by not focusing on that stuff?
Oh, yeah. I did like a 360 review of myself with like 10 other people from the company. And, they were just like a lot of comments about I just stop doing development, like focus on the CEO stuff. Yeah.
That sounds like incredibly useful feedback to get, like to actually ask all the people around you, what do I need to do differently? That sounds like it must have been probably hard, but really, really powerfully good for you.
Yeah, honestly, like if you haven't done like a 360 review, I can definitely recommend doing that. Like even maybe like the people you have worked with or collaborated with in the past, it can really be good because a lot of times like you don't really know what your strengths are and you don't really know what your weaknesses are. And like most of all, like a lot of the stuff that was in my review, I had a clue, but like I didn't know the details.
One of my favorite things in life is when someone gives me feedback that surprises me. Like they tell me something about me that I did not know, and then I'm like kind of shocked by, but also like resonates as true. Like that I think is just like gold, and I love having that happen. It sounds like a good way to generate that.
Could you give us an example of like some feedback you have received this way?
I can't remember the specific thing. I remember I had this in like a dating context recently where I was like dating someone who was a therapist. And so she was like very knowledgeable about people and sort of like figured something out about my psyche that I like was surprised by. But I wish I could remember exactly what it was. I just know it happened. Oh no, I lost the insight. I think I like the experience even more than the insight. Just like that feeling of like, oh man, wow, you got me.
Yeah, I'm curious, Amir. I'm assuming that Todoist, just because by nature of it being around a long time, is probably bringing in more revenue than Twist. Potentially, you could say like you can only justify so much time allocated to Twist versus Todoist. How do you guys think about like allocating time and resources between your products?
Yeah, honestly, like we haven't really given Twist as much attention as we should. But it's also very hard because like most of our revenue still are from Todoist, and like if we grow like Todoist 5%, it's like a huge amount of money that generates. If we go like grow Twist 50%, like in the bigger picture, it doesn't really mean much for us. But of course, like long term, like if you look at the long term, then investing in Twist is also a very, very good idea. But yeah, I mean, this is something that's like incredibly hard to do. Is like this balance act between like multi like product companies, and especially like you have like even more like people pushing their agendas and stuff. So it kind of also becomes like political. So it's kind of like Game of Thrones with products. Yeah.
Does the extra complexity of having another product ever make you just kind of wish you hadn't launched it?
If we had to launch this again, I would like think even harder than I did the first time around. Like multi-product is like much, much harder to do. And even actually like launching a new product in like the current time and age, it's fucking hard. Like, yeah, I have not thought like it would be this difficult. I mean, maybe that's not very encouraging for people that want to start, but like, yeah, you need to know what you're signing up for. Like, it's not going to be like a joyride. Yeah.
I've seen this hazard before, kind of in personal experience of like, just kind of the difficulty that I think a team that has a product that is by all measures successful, I think you get to a certain point where things kind of feel easy and like, this is SaaS or this is like, there's a lot of recurring revenue coming through. So like, even if we're making marginal improvements, like it still feels like we're trending in the right direction. And then when you see this team like kind of shift their focus to something that's brand new and dealing with kind of like the problems that you have in the early phase, I think they're almost different, completely different disciplines, I guess, like figuring out how to do the scrappy things you need to do in the early phase of a product versus the kind of things to incrementally grow a product. Do you guys have like the same team, like for example, the same marketing team? Do they spend part of their time doing stuff for Todoist and part of the time for Twist, or have you kind of segregated teams within your company?
In the beginning, we actually had like a small team that only did Twist. It was like about 6 people. And they actually did the early version. And then we integrated inside the company later on. And that actually produced a lot of issues. And we are still kind of like dealing a bit with them. Yeah. But the whole notion of how you actually split the company up as you grow and like, I mean, it's a whole like, you can read like books about this and like they recommend different stuff. And you're just like, fuck, like who should I actually listen to? Yeah. So that is something that we have really struggled with. And even right now, like we are struggling, like for instance, like how do you do like mobile? Do you just have like one like iOS team that does like both products? Do you have like a Twist and Todoist iOS teams? And right now we're actually like combining all the teams together because what we found out, like if you don't do that, then you have like 2 different code bases with 2 different styles. And like it's just like a cowboy show, and you don't really want that. Yeah,
definitely sounds tricky.
Yeah,
Amir, I'm looking at your pricing for Todoist right now. I'm curious, like fairly low-ish pricing. Like your B2C thing is $3 a month, but billed annually, and even the business thing is $5 a month, billed annually. And to me, starting a business in like of that kind with those prices would scare me a bit, because I would assume like churn is going to be crazy high on this kind of thing. People are going to sign up and be really price sensitive. Do you find yourself fighting churn in a big way? Is that your like big nemesis, or actually you figured out some things around this, or you don't think about it, or how does this strike you?
I mean, honestly, like when I started out, it was a side project, and I actually set the prices, and then everybody copied their prices of us. So that's kind of like a messed up thing. So all the to-do apps have like a very similar pricing right now, which is
because you picked something in college that a college student would pay for.
Yeah, I was like, okay, like $3 a month. That sounds pretty good. Like,
Oh,
yeah, that's kind of like our pricing strategy, and we have actually raised prices, but it's definitely not something I could recommend. And yeah, like churn is a huge problem in this market. The thing is also like once you reach the scale in this space, you have like a shit ton of traffic and like people trying it out and like people coming back, and like I would not recommend this pricing strategy or like this market right now. But yeah.
That's funny. I was listening to your Indie Hackers interview, and I appreciated you're just kind of like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I just kind of picked a thing, and now that's what it is. I don't know. It wasn't a smart strategic choice. I feel like a lot of people would kind of look backwards and like try to justify, well, I thought like this and that, and like, here's how I make this sound smart in retrospect. And you're just kind of like, nah, I don't know. It was probably a bad idea.
The thing that is beautiful right now is like there's so much knowledge that is being shared by a lot of people. So yeah, I mean, even you guys like drop a lot of like knowledge and just like sharing stuff and like sharing stories and like the struggles, when I started out, like I didn't really have access to that much. That's a cool thing.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know if we're dropping knowledge. We're dropping something. And someday I'll look back and go, oh yeah, I that was a smart choice because of these reasons, and the story will form itself as I go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else you gentlemen want to cover? We're getting pretty close to time.
I think like this remote first thing is really cool. So I could really recommend going that route if you haven't. And I'm actually like with your app, are you actually like thinking about doing something asynchronously or not? Or do you just want to make it synchronous?
That's a good question. I've been considering some async stuff, actually. Possibly even like an audio message you could send asynchronously. So one of our use cases that comes up is like people want to make sure the other person is ready to actually pair, like to actually start a call. And so it's like, well, if we gave them like a little audiogram capability, they could just be like, I could send you a quick thing. It's like, hey, are you ready? And you could just respond yes or no kind of thing. But then that might also like make it a more generally useful tool. So I've kind of had this feature in my head, and I kind of don't, it's kind of been rattling around in a promising way. So I could see us possibly embracing slightly more async stuff.
That sounds great. I mean, I think in general, like I'm actually unsure how much our engineering does like pair programming. So maybe there's also like some education aspects of this, because like I don't really think like engineers do this that much as we think. That's at least my observation.
So we're focused on pair programming right now, and I think we'll probably stay focused on that for a while. But there's some sort of interesting, really high-level strategic company kind of questions. Like if we have an app that runs on your desktop and all of your engineer coworkers are in it and one click away, what do you want to use that app for, and what opportunities are there? And I think there's kind of a lot of them. And so I would be kind of surprised if we never moved, like if we never took on more. So we'll see. I want to make sure we've nailed our core thing. And like right now, this has been a really great like positioning for us and kind of a wedge into people's minds. Like, oh, like it's a pairing app. I get it. I understand what that's for and why I might want it. But over time, I could see us potentially widening that.
I have a quick question for you, Amir. Yeah, I do see you talk a lot about kind of the remote first approach to building companies. It's an interesting trend that I think the one area that I see the biggest like issue with regard to remote work is the loneliness factor, and like, people who maybe, get more isolated because they're not coming into an office, seeing their coworkers all the time. I'm curious, have you guys figured out any ways to kind of remediate that as you build out your remote team?
Alcohol, lots of alcohol.
There you go.
There's different stuff that we do, and I think the probably best one is kind of the co-working perk that we have, and just like finding a cool co-working space. The thing is, like, WeWork is actually not, I think, the best one, or like a WeWork like space, but there's like some smaller ones. We actually have a community. So for instance, like in my co-working space that I use, it's basically having like co-workers. I just don't work in the same company as them, but like we do lunches, I play squash with them, and we go like to the gym, and like it's just like a small community that you're part of. And that helps a lot for like the mental state, and just like also like joking with people, like talking with them about random stuff. I think that helps a ton. Yeah. So like working from home, I would definitely not recommend that, like, for your mental health.
Well, I think we should wrap it.
Let's wrap it. Thanks for being on, Amir. Appreciate it.
Well, it was fun. I would definitely also listen to the podcast as this goes on. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. All right, there we go. We've got a new listener.
That's our listener acquisition strategy. We just got to have them on the show.
That's right.
Then we can earn.
We read Do Things That Don't Scale, and we're like, all right, we'll get one new listener at a time by interviewing them for 40 minutes on a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, there's so many podcasts right now. It's kind of like it's getting a very crowded space as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to crush the other ones. We're coming after you out of beta, bootstrapped web, all you guys.
It's a zero-sum
Start to the rest
game.
of us. We're coming.
Yeah.
You'll suck all the listeners out of the ecosystem and put up a paywall. All right. Show notes, Mr. Derrick.
Show notes can be found at artofproductpodcast.com.
Thank you for listening.
See you next time.
Bye.